It started as an ordinary weekday. A homeowner hired a cleaning lady to come by while everyone was out. The plan was simple. She'd have the house to herself. But an hour later, the phone rang. On the other end was her voice. Quiet and shaking. "There's someone in your house." What followed turned an everyday task into something far more chilling. This is the story of what happened, and how one woman's attention to detail may have stopped something far worse. The homeowner, Anna, lived in a quiet suburb on the edge of the city. It was the kind of place where most people left their doors unlocked during the day. She worked long hours at an insurance firm, often leaving home before sunrise and returning after dark. To help keep things manageable, she decided to hire professional cleaning help once a week. After checking reviews online, she chose Maria, a 46-year-old woman who had been cleaning homes in the area for nearly 2 decades. Maria had a reputation for being reliable, careful, and thorough. Anna met her once, gave her a spare key, and arranged for her to come every Thursday morning. That Thursday seemed no different. The weather was clear, traffic light. Anna left for work around 7:30, locking the main door as usual. By 9 o'clock, Maria arrived, just like she always did. According to Maria's later statement, everything looked normal when she stepped inside. Nothing seemed out of place. The front door was secure, and there were no signs of forced entry. She began cleaning, moving room to room, kitchen, hallway, living room. Then something changed. At around 10:15, Maria heard a noise upstairs. She described it later as a faint shuffle, like someone dragging their feet. At first, she thought it might be the wind or the house settling, but then there was another sound, distinct and deliberate. A door clicked shut. Maria froze. She knew she was alone. Anna had told her no one would be home that day. Quietly, she turned off the vacuum cleaner and listened. The house went still. She waited a full minute before calling out, "Hello? Miss Anna?" No answer. She stepped toward the base of the stairs, her heart pounding. There it was again. The sound of movement, slow and careful, coming from the guest room above. Maria backed away and grabbed her phone. She dialed Anna's number. When Anna picked up, Maria's voice was trembling. "Miss Anna, I think there's someone in your house." Anna's first thought was that it must be a mistake. Maybe a neighbor dropping something off. Maybe a pet. But Maria insisted. "I heard footsteps. Someone closed the door upstairs." "I know what I heard." Anna told her to leave the house immediately, but Maria stayed near the front door and kept watching the staircase. That's when she saw it. A shadow moved across the top of the stairs. Tall, slow, someone was there. Maria ran outside and waited across the street. Phone still in her hand, Anna, now convinced something was wrong, hung up and called the police. Officers arrived within 6 minutes. By the time they entered the home, the front door was still locked, but an upstairs window was open. In the guest room, they found clear signs someone had been staying there. A blanket on the floor, half-eaten food, and an empty water bottle. They also found the attic door slightly open. Inside, they discovered a small pile of personal items: a phone charger, a pair of gloves, and a bag containing men's clothing. Whoever had been there had been living quietly above Anna's ceiling. For how long? No one yet knew. Police began investigating. They suspected the intruder had entered through a small garage window that had been cracked weeks earlier but never repaired. The evidence suggested he'd been coming and going while the family was at work. Neighbors told officers they had occasionally seen movement through the upstairs curtains, but assumed Anna's relatives were visiting. No one thought much of it. Forensic teams collected fingerprints, food wrappers, and shoe impressions. They later identified the suspect, a 31-year-old man with a record of minor break-ins in nearby districts. He had been living out of abandoned buildings and occasionally breaking into empty homes for shelter. What made Anna's case so disturbing was how long it might have gone unnoticed, based on the trash and discarded items found. Police estimated he had been inside the house for at least 2 weeks, possibly longer. During that time, He had been using the family's Wi-Fi connection, sneaking into the kitchen at night, and retreating to the attic before dawn. He avoided triggering alarms, never used lights, and left no major signs of entry. It was Maria's sharp observation and her refusal to dismiss the strange sounds that likely prevented something worse from happening. Incidents like this, while rare, highlight a growing concern about hidden occupancy, when intruders secretly live in occupied homes without the residents' knowledge. Law enforcement calls it clandestine habitation. In most cases, these individuals are not violent. Many are people experiencing homelessness, addiction, or mental health struggles. But the risk remains serious, both for safety and privacy. Home security experts say there are several lessons from this experience. Never ignore small signs. Strange noises, moved objects, or missing food can all point to something unusual. Keep all entry points secure. A single broken latch or cracked window can be an open invitation. Check unused spaces. Attics, basements, and guest rooms can go unnoticed for weeks, and always trust your instincts. Police later praised Maria's decision to step outside instead of trying to investigate alone. It may have saved her life. Anna replaced all her locks and installed motion sensors after the incident. She still lives in the same home, but says she no longer assumes her house is empty when she leaves. For Maria, the experience changed how she works. Now she checks every home carefully before starting a job and always keeps her phone nearby. Looking back, both women agree on one thing. It wasn't luck, it was awareness. A normal day, a routine job, and a single moment of listening closely turned what could have been a tragedy into a narrow escape, because sometimes the quietest sounds can be the ones that save you.